to the Baltic Sports Science Conference 2017. It is a great pleasure for me to join you today, and congratulations Baltic Sports Science Society by celebrating such a nice anniversary. I have always held this conference at the highest esteem, and while growing up as a researcher and practitioner, I have always drew heavily upon for this conference, and this was a direction of my professional growth and for my professional development, as I still continue to do so today. So thank you very much for organizers to invite me, and I would like to share this particular topic with you, because I'm very fascinated by the topic, by the subject of parenting in youth sport. And I have been studying this topic at the very beginning of my scientific career. So my experiences as an athlete, as a coach, and most importantly, as a parent, has impressed me to study this topic. So I hope this presentation will provide you some useful ideas for advancing youth sport parenting and youth sport coaching in your future research. So today I would like to share three things with you. Firstly, I would like to present really very briefly the theoretical background of coach, athlete and parent as an educational system. Secondly, I would like to present the research I have worked and done on the topic. And finally, I would like to present and to share my experience, how I put the research into practice. So I will start my presentation with the quotes of young athletes and parent and the coach, based on Holt and Knight research, which highly illustrates the interrelationships between the coach, the parent, and the athlete. People say I pushed my kids too hard, that I nearly destroyed them. And they are right. I was too hard on them. I pushed my kids because I loved them. I've never questioned my father's love. I just wish it were softer, with more listening and less rage. In fact, I wished my father loved me less. Maybe then he'd back off and let make my own choices. You wouldn't go into a lawyer's office and tell him how to do their job. You just trust them. But coaching is one of those jobs where they, parents, do need to be involved. We have an impact. We don't see us as professionals. We have opinions and think we know better. These quotes highlight that even with the best intentions and unconditional love of their children, parents may not always support their children in inappropriate ways. Arguably, well, youth sport is of course about the children and adolescents who play, but it would not exist without parents. And arguably, in which way parents are involved in youth sport can make or break their children's experiences. So, most research shows that parents have the biggest impact on children participation. However, there is a tendency to focus on a negative influence of parents, yelling at or fighting with coaches, parents, referees, detracting from the experiences of their own children, as well as other children, parents, or coaches. Sounds familiar? Well, of course, we see really stories about thousands of youth sport events that went off peacefully each day, and young athletes felt supported atmosphere created by the coach and the parent. But what I'm trying to say that is being a parent or a coach is not a science, it's an art. Science is exact, and 1 + 1 always equals 2, but sport parenting and sport coaching are different. And young athletes are the blank canvas, and the years from now, they will be the culmination of the messages we have received, the opportunities we have had, and the values we have learned of being an athlete. And no two kids are the same. So coaches and parents has constantly learned to adapt, to listen, and to be ready to change themselves in every single moment while influencing the young athlete. And well, I will present the coach, the athlete, and the parent educational system, and motivated participation of all 3 members of the system could create an effective education. However, the recent research shows that such a 3-dimensional system is underdeveloped, is not positive enough, and could be more effective if certain social instruments were used. If parents were more engaged and involved in youth sport and understood their role of youth sport, if athletes were not pressed but motivated by creating psychological climate, and the coach had continuous learning possibilities. And overall, all 3 members of the system could understand each other's goals and expectations and respect them during training sessions and competitions. So I'm analyzing the coach, athlete, and the parent as an educational system, and the term system is often heard in a variety of contexts and intuitively perceived as a complex whole, as a set of procedures and homogeneous behavior. While in more detail, the term system, according by Holt, is defined as interacting or interdependent components working together towards a common goal. So this athletic triangle could be improved by, firstly, by the coach and parent dual role, not three-person relationship, but firstly by a dual role, understanding interpersonal relationships between them and how it will affect the young athlete. Secondly, the coach and the athlete dual role. So this is the coach's goal, to how to motivate, how to create the motivational climate to the young athlete, to support and encourage. And thirdly, the parent and the athlete dual role. So the most important is created positive parent role model, always stay involved, communicate and support. And finally, we got 3-way communication, not 2-way, not 1-way, but 3-way communication. So the most important is to speak and to understand each other's expectations, and to, in a common language, to understand and to respect each other. And finally, we got 3-way agreement. So we can now create this and set the realistic goals and work as a team to discuss. So in my opinion, it is the most important to work as a team and to be, in other words, on the same page. All people must follow the same page and discuss in a common language, so everybody could understand that. So I have created the conceptual model based on my research, which lasted almost 6 years. And the detailed research has impressed me to create the conceptual model, which is already published in the international journal. So parents, when they get involved in youth sport, changes parents' life, as well as athletes' life and athlete personality development. And these two relationships between the athlete and the parent could be impressed by and encouraged by the attachment in the family relations, especially when we are talking about the parent and the athlete relationship, the dual role. So it is very important, the attachment and the family relationships. Recognition of the child's personal needs in sport, psychological support in youth sport, interest, involvement, support to survive in competitive environment. So finally we got coach. Is the person who influences these two interactions and creates an effective educational system. So actually the coach is the person who influences the athletic triangle, and the coaches with competences, knowledge, skills and experience could maximize the benefits of youth sport, of the athletic development and career. So the coach's goal to parents would be always to strengthen parent-coach collaboration, support in understanding the goals of youth sport, and support in strengthening the parent role in youth sport. And at the same time, the coach's role would be to motivate the athlete. So the most important, as research shows, is positive coaching strategy, coaching philosophy and methods used by coach, helping to understand the goals dictated by the sporting environment, and support to survive in competitive sport. So overall, this three-dimensional educational system influences also peers, teammates, and adolescents' friends, because I'm analyzing especially adolescence age. So this triangle could be more effective if everybody could understood each other's goals, but peers has a very great and very big impact on these relationships too. So next I will present the empirical research I have done and worked on. It lasted, as I already mentioned, about 5 years. So I have done a mixed method study. I used explanatory sequential design suggested by Creswell. And firstly, I've done quantitative research, and I analyzed parent and athlete attachment. I done quantitative data analysis. And next, what I did is I have done two qualitative studies, the in-depth interviews, in total 30. So more than 400 pages text for analysis, transcribed text. So, and I used interpretative phenomenological analysis by Smith. And what is the most difficult part of my research was that the integration. That's what mixed method study requires, to integrate both quantitative and qualitative studies into a single one. So, okay, so now I will start to present the quantitative study and what I have found. So, participants were 1,348 participants, adolescents, who participated in a study. We have divided into two age groups, early adolescence age and middle adolescence age. So we used inventory of parent and peer attachment scale, revised, and subscales of trust, communication, and alienation. To attachment to parents and also to peers, and to find out which factor is more important in adolescence age. So the results has revealed that, well, actually, firstly, we have measured the attachment to parents and peers and measured differences between gender and age. And the results showed that boys are more attached to their parents compared to girls. The girls are more attached to their to peers, to friends, actually. Talking about age differences, the younger adolescents are more attached and expressed more on all scales, trust, communication, and alienation compared to older adolescents. And which is, I think, it's quite natural phenomenon. So next, there was investigated attachment to parents and peers by participation in sport. The results has showed that adolescent athletes were more attached to their parents in all scales, subscales in trust, communication, and alienation compared to non-athletes, which means that participation in sport really influences the relationship with parent and the athlete. However, there were no significant differences between the sporting activity and attachment to peers. Finally, I've done multiple regression analysis and involved two models. In first model, I have added age and gender, and the second model, sporting activities. So the results shows that age and sporting activities predicts trust to parents. Secondly, and also communication with parents, especially the age and the sporting activities. However, the alienation subscale, the gender and age predicts alienation from parents, but sporting activities has no significant differences on alienation to parents. Overall, the attachment to parents predicts gender and age and sporting activities. So the next study was the qualitative study, as I already mentioned, and I have created almost 60 topics on it while analyzing the data, and these are the major ones. These three meta-themes emerged into my research from the parent responses, so the value of sport, the acquaintance with athletes' life, and the experience of parent involvement in children's sport. So now we'll discuss about each of them. So the value of sport perceived by parents. Parents see that sporting activity is a school of life for their children, and they say that sport is not a medal, it's more like moral education. The second major theme was parental acquaintance with youth sport. Parents talked about how they were introduced with their child sporting activities, competitions, the role of the coach, the injuries, the victories and defeats. And overall, parents really were detract from the fact that they become more and more attached to their coach, but not to parent. And it is really a very painful fact to know for parents. And the third theme was the expression of parent involvement in youth sport. So the expression is, this theme, the third one, was the most discussed question, and they were described the involvement of parents in a very different ways: over-involved, involved, very careful involvement, and even fake involvement. So, but overall, parents has impressed very sensitive and very beautiful emotions during the speech, as this quote highlights. Okay, so next I will go forward to a athlete experiences, and it was very interesting to hear the stories of young athletes. And these are the major three themes that emerged in this data: the athlete attachment to sport, parent involvement from adolescents' point of view, and adolescent thoughts for parents about the vision, what kind of parental involvement we would like to see. So, athlete attachment to sport. Athletes really see their sport as a personal space, and it's kind of escape from the school, from the daily routine, even from family. And they really expressed very sensitive emotions, how much means sport to them. And the second theme was parental involvement from adolescents' point of view. So the parents, the adolescents talked about the parents really nicely, but almost all athletes indicated that the parent behavior and the influence of the parents and involvement is not positive enough, and could be more effective, and even with the best intentions, they do not involve in inappropriate ways. And it appears the alienation from to parent and athlete relationship. And the third one is the adolescent's thought for parents. So the athlete says that parents should not press, they should trust. Yes, we need to parent support. It means a lot to athlete, but parents are welcome to be involved in a very careful manner. That's the adolescents' athletes' thoughts for parents. And these athletes were with a quite high sporting experience, almost 8 years. So these thoughts are based on these athletes. Okay, so the integration, the most difficult part, as I already mentioned, quantitative study revealed that adolescents expressed the highest on trust, as it also connects, there is a connection with qualitative data, and adolescents expressed less on communication, as shown in the slide, also connects with some qualitative research topics. And at least there was a tendency to, but also statistically significant on alienation scale. And also this themes connects and adds the relationship, how the alienation appears, how this alienation from parent and adolescent appears. So finally, as I already mentioned, there was created conceptual model, and mixed method study was done, and by integrating all of these aspects, there has been seen a tendency to have the alienation from parent to adolescent athlete. So it has impressed me to create educational programs and to see how it works in practice, how it could be strengthened and supported with parental involvement. So as already said, the conceptual model showed that parent influenced athlete and athlete influenced parent, and the coach is the only one person who interacts and maximizes this interaction. And the quantitative study showed that athletes are more attached to parents compared to non-athletes, so it is quite interesting that the participation of sport really has an impact on parent-child relationship. The qualitative study of parents has revealed the importance of the coach's role, and the qualitative study of athletes revealed really that parent and athlete alienation appears. So these results has impressed me to create the educational programs, which I will show you really soon. So the first program is Parental Involvement in Youth Sport program. The idea is that when the results showed the alienation, it was the idea to put together at a very young age children and parents together to go to the gym, to play sports together, and to enjoy sport by integrating psychological and educational skills into it, to do workshops, seminars to parents, and to maximize and to strengthen this relationship. So,
2 minutes to conclusion, please.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so this program is when children and parents are working together in a gym, and they are growing as a team together. So this is by integrating the psychological and educational skills. Yes, so these are the moments how we enjoy sports together, and how the research could be combined into practice, and how this parental involvement could be influenced and strengthened. Another program is based on the educational programs, especially focused on coach education programs separately, the parent education separately, and the athlete education separately, by integrating also the educational psychological programs, skills.
First of all, I think they must together love and enjoy sport. Second thing, they must respect and trust in each other. And third one, they must believe that they can be the best.
I suppose the most important thing would be the communication and always staying in touch. I think that both coaches and athletes, they should exchange their opinions and always talk about the problems which they get.
In my opinion, the most important thing is right motivation for the coaching, for the young people who understand sports.
In my opinion, it's important to maintain coach, parent and athlete relationship.
I think it's really important to do that. We all need to keep in touch, and in this way the best results will come.
When coach, athletes and parents will be the team, and this team will have the same goals, and they have the same ways how to reach these goals, I think miracles can happen.
So the CAPES program is based on idea that the coach, the athlete and the parent interaction is developed in one direction and has one common goal: to increase and to maximize the benefits of youth sport. Active participation of all three members of the system is very important and necessary in developing the young athletes' sporting experience and career. So that is the vision, and to, of course, to make it worldwide. Actually, it works in Lithuania, in Norway, and we have agreements with the United States. So the ambitions are big, but of course, we're working on it with a team. So thank you very much for your attention, and my final note is that raising a young athlete can be really brilliant. It could be exasperating, and ultimately it is the most, I think, incredible and rewarding experience in parents' and athletes' life. Thank you very much.